why does the view still exist out there of companies, of buyers, of looking at marketing as the necessary evil?
I think from my perspective, there's still operators that, and I've seen this at big companies and small companies that look at actions versus what that action actually attributes to. And I
Right.
always said to my team, why are we doing this? And you would not believe how many times I get, I don't know.
Yeah.
This is what we've typically done. So if you are explaining that to a leader or stakeholder and you cannot explain why you're actually doing certain things that is important to them, then that becomes an operational expense in some
Yeah.
ways or can be interpreted as that. And they don't really understand it. I think our role as senior marketers is really to interpret that to our audience and to explain what value that they're getting out of what it is that you're doing. And then the activities that we're doing are all in support of that main objective. As long as we measure it and can explain it in a way that shows that true value.
Yeah. If it's not PowerPoint slides, and again, that's far and few between, but it still happens today, then it's always, what are the leads? What are the impressions? How do you shift the mindset away from that to truly understand the quality behind what marketing can drive?
So there's multiple ways to do that. One of the things, and actually, if you look at some of the analyst reports, I'm gonna, quote this from Forrester, but they use this thing called a TCV ROI, so total contract value and return on investment. And one of the things that they talk about is having a 3.1, I think is the benchmark for making sure that you have that return based on your expenses. So how much are we bringing in versus the expense? And when we talk about the expense, that includes, that's not the whole company. That is, you think of your entire funnel. How much am I spending on a BDR if they're taking those leads?
Right.
How much am I spending on awareness, the PR firm, the entire funnel? How am I, the designers that are working on those PowerPoints? So within the marketing, how much am I spending on that? And then what are we gaining out of it? First and foremost, you can use that as a tool to gain more money. As high as like 5x, to go and say, I think, we're running really high. Can I get more funding or can I use that as a tool for more funding?
Oh.
And this is where I'm going to apply it. It includes everything that you can think of. If we're running too low, that's where, it's a hard pill to swallow, but then you need to really look at your team and say, what do I need to do to get that ratio higher?
Right.
And then once you have that, I kind of look at that. That is like the holy grail of a metric. But then there are certain things that you can operationalize. So if you're going for brand, making sure you're consistent around brand voice, there's ways to measure if I'm having an impact on industry analysts. I came from, cybersecurity. There's industry analysts. How am I making progress towards those? There's demand, but demand again, we look at, am I bringing in pipeline value to the sales team? Am I bringing in revenue that's a direct impact of marketing or marketing influence? There's a little nuance there. And then on the sales level, looking at, okay, the BDRs, am I doing the right support? There are things that I can do lower in the funnel, such as nurture campaigns. When it comes to working with the board, it's really simplifying that into leading and lagging indicators and making sure that you have the top metric, which is what they care about, a lagging indicator, and then a leading indicator that is something that you can look at on a more daily basis.
Right.
And the way I think about it, and you can have two within those buckets, but one's got to be a quality metric and one's a quantity metric. You can't, in my opinion, you cannot have one without the other.
Yeah.
Is you can say I drove X amount of revenue, but the idea is my conversion rates and the quality of the stuff that I'm bringing to the table is not hitting it.
Yeah. The thing that gets so tricky here is, let's say that you're an enterprise company and
Yeah.
you've got a brand new product launch, that is nestled under the brand hierarchy, but truly a new product, or your early stage. In both of those situations, you don't really have high awareness at all. And
Yep.
knowing that awareness really happens, strong awareness 2 to 3 years in, how do you manage expectations of the board with the need to, get some quantity metrics there to really understand that, this is going to take 3 years, and here are the ROIs or the returns that we can expect over time. We might start out as 1x, we might get to 3.1, and then we'll be to 5 in 3 years. They're going to, a lot of them just don't understand that, and they expect so much more out of the chute.
I will tell you there's two things that I would like to say about that. One is it doesn't matter if you're starting at 0 or you're starting at 500 or a million. The idea is to go up and to the right, and you might have cyclical, but if you're monitoring it over time, your trend should be up and to the right. Then you're knowing you're going in the right direction. So that's my first comment. My second comment is there's always places to compare. If you're in a larger company that's done prior launches, what does good look like? Say, and it can't be, oh, it was successful because we got feedback from sales and they said it was awesome. At the end of the day, what was the revenue number and what does success look like? How do we actually perform?
Right.
That's my benchmark. And by the way, if it's a new company, there's resources that you can go to compare. You can talk to industry analysts, peers, like there's a wealth of information out there that you can get some idea, but you always got to compare it to something. Otherwise, a number is just a number and it
Right.
doesn't mean anything. I would look at numbers, Fortune 500 companies, the numbers would be really big. And I'd be like, is that good or bad? Same
Yeah.
thing. You need something to compare it to.